What is going on, everybody? It's Jason. I am joined today by comic author of Swat, Justin Koch. Justin, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Yeah, I had a wonderful day. How you doing?
Couldn't be better, man. I woke up to some pretty good day. It was a pretty good day today. So
Right,
I want to ask you, just to get kind of started, is what made you want to be a writer?
I just wrote. I started writing when I was 6. That's it. I don't know. I just always have. There was no moment. It was just always my thing. Yeah, I wrote an alien abduction story in 1986, and I've just been doing it ever since. So, yeah.
Alien abduction story when you were 6?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the mid 80s. That was a huge unsolved mysteries was a huge thing. You know, that was a huge deal in the late 80s. That and Satanic Panic was the kind of the big two imagination things at that point. So
I remember that, the D&D panic of the 80s.
Oh my God. Yeah. I got pulled out of class in the late 90s for having a role-playing game book, and I was given a very stern lecture about gang violence. Like, play role-playing game stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah, recently my mom's like, "You seem to have a lot of fun playing D&D with your friends. Is the game fun?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great. Don't remember telling me I wasn't allowed to play when I was 7 years old because it's satanic?" I'm like, "There's nothing satanic about that game whatsoever."
It's well, I think the genuine fear at the bottom of that is that if you get the idea that all this is imaginary, it's not too much of a leap to go. Is fundamentalism imaginary? You know what I mean? Like that's really it. Is they want a monopoly on your imagination. So if you control what people can think, you can control everything they think. Right? So I don't know. But yeah.
How did all that turn into you deciding to write a comic book? Is this your first comic book?
Well, it's the one that's furthest along. It's actually the second series I wrote. I wrote a lot of novels, and I've written like 9. 2 of them got published in a really pathetic way, that the most pathetic way that involves me getting money possible. But I just started writing comics, and it just felt right. It was kind of like an explosion of like, this is where I need to be, what I'm good at. And so, yeah, I've just been doing that ever since, because the idea of writing a novel at this point is just like, oh my God.
Seems so daunting.
It's just, I mean, it's a lot of tedium, and no one gives a shit. Pardon my French, but comics just fit for me in a way that nothing had before. So,
absolutely, that makes sense. Were you a big comic book reader growing up?
I read a lot. I was a huge fan of Sandman. But the graphic novel section of the Walden books that I had access to at that point was about this big. So it was pretty much grocery store comics, the stuff that was on those wire racks at that point. I mean, I'd say Sandman was huge. I had like my own little hand-drawn comic in high school, but I can't draw, right? So like, it was awful. It was sub stick figure level. But Sandman for a long time. I didn't really rediscover it until pretty recently, honestly. It's daunting, right? Like, superhero stuff is daunting. There's so many different, you need to read this, and you haven't read The Amazing Spider-Man 241. How can you possibly understand this? It feels very scary from the outside. So I mostly kind of been in the indie comic zone of late. But Watchmen, obviously, Kingdom Come, all kinds. I was sort of tangentially involved for a long time, but it's been the last few years I've really gotten into it.
Dude, I completely relate to it's daunting. Like, I wanted to get back into reading X comics, so I went to the comic book store, and there's like a huge wall of X-Men comics, and they're all over the place, and I have no idea where to start, because no rhyme or reason. Like, back in the day, you had numbered sequence, and you could just follow the numbers, and you were good to go. Now ever since I think the death of Superman, they started like really weaving in and out of different books and stuff. And
Yeah,
it's gotten even more convoluted in some ways with the superhero stuff that it's hard to know where to go and what to pick up. And
yeah, it really is. I mean, and also they just like I feel like there's resets. I this is like me repeating stuff I kind of read from IO9 5 years ago or whatever, but it's just like they're constantly just resets of the mythology, and it's just so complicated. And I feel like it's basically just if you were like an ancient Greek, I feel like Hercules would probably feel a lot like Marvel Comics or DC, right? Like it's the same dynamic. So I find it absolutely fascinating, but I'm also just terrified. I don't know how to start. I just don't know how to break into it. It's almost I've maybe made it into a bigger deal than it really is when I compare it directly to Greek mythology. But I mean, I really do think it's probably about the same.
Yeah, but, I just got the Marvel Unlimited app, and I just started with X-Men #1 because at least the story is in order, and I can follow it from there. But no, I've been reading a lot of independent comics as well. So tell me about Swat and how you came up with the idea.
Well, honestly, basically, J.K. Rowling, who I should not have to think that hard to remember her name, she's been running her mouth about trans people for a long time, and that somehow was at the start. I don't remember exactly how, but I was kind of annoyed with J.K. Rowling, and so I decided to make fun of Harry Potter. Is kind of where it started, and it just went from there. And then she was supposed to play a bigger role at the start, and she just sort of faded out as the story took on a life of its own. But yeah, I mean, and the Harry Potter thing's mostly, it's a parody of a lot of things, but it's also kind of the millennial experience, to some degree. Like, I feel like there's a lot of overlap with Swat's a lot about being a millennial and sort of like watching the world kind of go down in flames in your adulthood is what it feels like at this point. And so there's a lot of that. And so that's kind of the opening of Swat sort of combining Columbine and Harry Potter. And just kind of going from there in a pretty insanely psychotic way. So
you said you have a bunch of different ideas for comic books. Is this something you're going to be pursuing more down the road? Is more comic book writing?
Oh, I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing. If I'm writing at all, it's going to be comic books. It's so much fun to write comics, man. It feels right. It's hard to explain, but it's just like I found my thing. That people respond to it the way I want them to respond to it, which never, I mean, occasionally happen with prose, but this is definitely where I'm at for now, for sure. But yeah, the issue is I've got so many things, man. Like I could be writing 10 different series right now if I wanted to. I kind of am. I've got like one issue done of 10 different things. I'm just sort of like poking around for the next thing that takes off. In my head. So
yeah, that's what everybody should do. I've always encouraged people, like, if you have ideas, start doing it, and then one of those ideas is eventually going to spark something. You're going to want to continue that idea, and that's a good way to go about it. But as somebody who, as you said, you're not artistic, and I relate to that. I'm very good with stick figures as well. Is it daunting to sit down and try to find somebody to do the illustrations for the comic book? And how does that process work? Because you have a vision in your head. Like, how do you and the artist work together to kind of make that vision come to life?
Well, no, I definitely have a vision. I mean, I imagine it pretty clearly. I just can't draw. You know what I mean? There's a huge gap there. But it is daunting. It's hard, man. I mean, I don't. Do you know who Johnny Christmas is?
The name sounds familiar, but off the top of my head,
he wrote like Swim Team. It's mostly YA stuff. But I was he was doing a talk at a book fest, and I asked him, how do you actually get artists to do anything on time? And he just went, I lied to them about the deadline so that they actually end up delivering when I wanted them to. That was his answer was, so it's been a struggle, I mean, it's hard. I had to fire one guy. I mean, basically, because it was just, it's like with artists, you can have their good work, they're on time, and they're fun to work with. Pick two, right? that's kind of what, if you get two, you're doing okay. If you get one, sometimes you get zero. Occasionally you get all three, and at that point you just stick with that artist for the rest of your life. I think is pretty much what it amounts to. But yeah, no, it's hard. It's definitely hard to interact or get people to do things. It's hard to get attention for. I mean, none of this is easy. That's the cost of doing things that people actually want to do. None of it's going to be easy.
I imagine it's almost like a relationship, finding the right artist and having that kind of almost, reading what each other wants to do with the story.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, yeah. I mean, for sure, you want them to get you, and you want to get them, because that's how you're going to have art that matches with what you're trying to actually do. If you don't get each other, then what's there? So yeah, you want that for sure. It can be hard to do, in real life, but absolutely, you'd love to have, like an artist that was your best friend. I think that'd probably be like some really great stuff, just because you were vibing so hard. But yeah, I mean, you're basically, as the writer, you're kind of just giving the artist creative prompts mostly, and then write dialogue. So you definitely need to have a level of vibe that pretty high level of being simpatico, I would think, ideally.
So you said your book it's What We Do in Shadows mixed with The Wire. That is an awesome combination.
I mean, I really, it's hard. I can't tell you how much I believe in this, in SWAT, because you think I was crazy, but it is just, it is, it's the greatest thing I've ever written. And it's everything. I mean, I am pouring myself out on the page. It's comedy, it's drama, it's everything. So I really believe in it, but I like I said, it's hard for me to say how much I believe in it, but it really, yeah, it's kind of like What We Do in Shadows, but also The Wire. And there's a through line of tragedy, there's a through line of drama, but there's also, it's also incredibly silly at times and ridiculous, and it is unhinged. I love being unhinged. That's what I love about comics, is that you can just be, the weirder you are, the great. That's better. No one's being like, that's not realistic. No, be ridiculous. Go do that stupid thing, right? Like have a race of robots whose heads is cathode ray TVs. No one's going to ask any questions about how that happened. Just go, or what have you.
On my podcast, the guys are really into animation, and it's so true. With the writing and comic books and animation, everything costs the same too. Like it costs the same to draw a vision. It's not like television and TV where you need to have a budget to make this crazy thing come to life. But with, comic books, you can make pretty much whatever you want to make on the pages. And that's
yeah. The challenge is sometimes, with my first series, not SWAT so much, but there's definitely been. Sorry. Hold on.
Everybody, the links to the SWAT campaign is down below. Just type in your email, you get on the waiting list, and you'll be notified as soon as it goes live. Please, definitely support independent comics.
Yeah, it would be extremely helpful, guys. It's just a sign up, but we need to. It's been hard to get the needle going on that. There's so many people trying to do so many things that it's hard to get attention. So I would always appreciate it, even if you don't buy anything. But you should buy it. It's fucking late. Where were we? One of the challenges with my first series, what I would do is I just overloaded the page, right? And the artist would just come back and be like, we're going to have to cut this in half. And they were completely right, so one of the challenges kind of like learning to see it from the artist's perspective and being like, how much space is the artist going to need to do this? And then there's also the timing of the jokes and all that kind of thing. So it's like what I love about comics, I think, is that it's so structured and yet it's so free, right? Like in some aspects, you're completely free to do whatever you want. but then you've got 21 pages to do it, and that's actually a lot of fun for me. I love having I love having a deadline, I guess. I guess if that's weird, most art writers would be horrified by that, but it's like that's part of the challenge, is getting it done in 21 or 22 pages in a way that. So anyway, but yeah.
When you decide to do the campaign for SWAT for issue 1, how far down the road do you map? Like, okay, this is the book I'm going to focus on right now. So how far do you map ahead?
I've written 36 issues. It's done.
Oh, okay.
I've done.
Awesome.
I've actually started writing the sequel. I'm definitely a pantser, though. Like, I have some sort of vague concept of something down the line, but like the first 3 endings end up getting chucked as something better comes along. So sometimes what I love is feeling like the characters are taking control of the story and that I'm just sort of there, right? If they're doing stuff I didn't want them to do, that's awesome, because it means they've kind of taken up a life in my head where there's enough there for them to do things that I didn't want them to do. That sounds schizophrenic, but that's kind of what it is,
A lot of writers say that, like, sometimes the characters and the story dictate what happens at the end, whether you have a plan or not.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's to me, if it's not happening, it probably sucks. Like if the things have not taken a life of their own in your head enough that they're sort of taking charge, then I don't know. That's not a great sign for me. That's a time to take a break and figure out what went wrong. Type of time. So everyone has their own method. I'm not saying that you should feel bad if you have your whole plan out. If you're able to execute that way, do it. But I'm definitely much more of a let's see what happens kind of guy. So
there's some writers who will write something and they'll put it in a drawer, and then a couple months later they'll go back to it so they can read it with fresh eyes. What is your writing style? Like, how do you go about, I guess, editing or proofreading your projects?
Well, basically, I kind of just anxiously fidget edit after I'm done. I tighten up the dialogue. I tighten up the dialogue until there's no tightening left. And I'm writing the new script at the same time and kind of going back. And it's definitely mostly just me taking passes at the dialogue and tightening that up, because for the most part, the artist is just going to do what they're going to do anyway. Like, unless there's some sort of structural issue, there's nothing to change on the panels as long as the timing's right.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much, I should say. I feel like the dialogue's the only thing the actual reader sees that I did. Everything else is through a filter. So I want the dialogue to be like, just as tight as possible. Also, for comedy purposes, you've got to like have insanely tight dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to end up with a Ghostbusters 2016 situation where everyone's just ad-libbing crap at each other. That's bad. So,
yeah. When you do the dialogue, do you run it by like a friend? Do you like talk it out, see how it kind of sounds being spoken, or?
Well, I definitely. My wife has read a lot of it, and so she's kind of been my editor. I feel like I'm the best judge of what's going to be funny or not, honestly. So I just tighten it up to my own set. If I'm happy with it, I'm going to be happy with it. If you don't want to read the inner workings of my brain, don't buy Swat, because this is basically my autobiography in a incredibly weird way. But yeah, it's just the sound of my voice is essentially what's happening. So, I think I have a pretty natural like dialogue style, right? It's definitely, I'm trying to sound like actual humans talking, which is, a little bit of a change from many comics, but not to the point of, it shouldn't be difficult to read. It should just be sort of very pop.
Awesome. So where can everybody find you online?
Oh geez, I'm gonna have to. I'm on Threads. I'm on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is justincoke.bsky.social, and Threads is I want to say justincoke6161.
Okay.
Yeah, justincoke6161 on Threads. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I kind of hate social media. It's been a real struggle because,
man, I relate. If I didn't have this podcast, my social media would be cut way back, because the only reason I really use even my personal page is just to promote this.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is I haven't really had anything to promote, and I'm from an era where you wanted to be private on the internet. Like, the whole idea of everyone knowing everything I'm doing is just sort of confusing to me. So I'm not a natural social media person, it's always been a struggle. So that's been one of the harder parts of like trying to promote this, is because I just have no base at all to do it, because I just get in arguments with idiots. That's my internet hobby, is getting arguments. It's just not.
I laugh because it's so true. I've gotten in arguments with idiots online too.
It's really kind of the only thing left on social media. I feel like it's the arguments with people, which is not healthy or productive. So I've been trying to trim back.
It's all right. I'll promote your book for you, so no problem at all. Reach out to me when it hits. I'm definitely gonna follow the campaign on Zoop. Guys, check down below. Again, the link is in the description of this video. And thank you so much, Justin, for joining me. This has been fun. I hope to see you again in the future.
Thank you. I'd love to come back.
Everybody, please like, comment, subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. See you.
Whether you're solving murders during breakfast, cracking cold cases on your commute, or playing amateur detective at bedtime, Amazon Music's got millions of podcast episodes waiting. Just download the Amazon Music app and start listening to your favorite true crime podcasts ad-free, included with Prime.